Hello, everyone.
Good afternoon, IG.
Good afternoon, Madam President, Madam Chinoye. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Madam Chinoye, do we start immediately or do we wait a little more? It's already 1 o'clock.
I think we can start. We're about 10 participants on the meeting now, so I think that's enough. Or we could wait till it's 15. Let's just see how it goes. But I think 10 is enough, though.
Okay. People are already joining, so let's just start. Okay, so hello everyone. I can see a lot of people. My name is IJ Odiawa, but my full name is Ijiweme, but you can just call me IJ. Maybe I should rename myself so that it should be easier to pronounce it. IJ. So I'll be your facilitator for today. So over the next 2 hours, we'll be in each other's spaces. As I'm sure we already know, we are here to discuss Excel, Microsoft Excel. And so this is a beginner's class, all right? This class is not necessarily for people who have vast experience in Excel, right? So if you are maybe a don in Excel, or you are a chairman or chairlady in Excel, as the case may be, we might bore you, right? So there's a danger that we might bore you, but it doesn't matter because there's always something to learn every day, right? No matter how much of something you know, there's always something new to learn or to find out. So, but if you're a newbie, like you are asking yourself, what is all these things, right? Maybe you joined, not necessarily the club, but you joined the school and you can't really figure out your left from your right with this Excel. You're always asking for help. You're always going around to find who will help you because this Excel is not excelling. I think you're in the right place. All right. So, so the goal of this class is to just get a feel of who we are, what we want to learn, right? So, I will share my screen any moment from now, but yeah. So I'll share my screen, and I'm sure, of course, there's no need to ask. We all have Microsoft Excel installed on our laptop, don't we?
Yes, we do.
All right, great. So we are not talking. We're in this together. So can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll be starting from the basics, like very basic, right? So Microsoft. Sorry, okay. I'll be starting from the very basics, right? Excel. What is Excel, right? Of course, it's an application that was built by Microsoft. So that's the word Microsoft. The word from the name itself, Microsoft Excel. It shows that Microsoft Excel works best with other tools, other devices that were made by Microsoft, and other tools that were made by Microsoft. So Microsoft Excel will work with other things like Power BI, which you might see later on. It will work with other things like all the other Microsoft Office suites. And so there are ways to link Microsoft Excel to almost every other Microsoft application, right? But for Excel, if you open it up basically, starting from the basics, if you can see my screen, you can see home, insert, page layout, formulas, data, right? These places are called the tabs. They're called the tabs, right? So in conversation, if we say, okay, click on the home tab of Excel, click on this, click on the insert tab, you're here, right? Click on the data tab, you're here, right? So as we are going forward, just understanding the terminology is important so that as we're moving forward, if we say click on the table tab, you won't be saying what's that one? What's the meaning of that one? Right? So these ones here are the tabs. Now beneath the tabs, we have the ribbon. All right, ribbon. Now, I'm sorry, I'll just quickly move this away so that you can see. All right, the ribbon, right? So each tab has its own functions inside arranged in the ribbon. So this part here, from here to here, right, across is the ribbon. So we are talking page, each tab has its own, insert has its own functions in its ribbon. You know, the page layout has its own functions in its ribbon and stuff like that, right? So below that is the formula bar, right? The formula bar, as the name implies, for it's just to write formulas. A lot of the time, we just use it to type whatever we want. So my cursor is in cell A1, so I just type anything. I can type it there, and it will show it here. And of course, and if I type here, I type inside the cell, it shows in the formula bar, right? Now, having done that, what is really important? One thing you should note is, okay, we've done the tabs, we've done the ribbons, we've done the formula bar. Below that is the Excel spreadsheet in itself, right? So when you open Excel, the first thing you see is an Excel workbook. So think of Excel like a book, right? And a book has many pages, right? So this is just one page. You can open new pages by clicking here, you know, insert sheet, open a new page, insert sheet, open a new page, right? So with this plus sign here, you can add as many sheets as you want, right? So it's basically, think of it like basic general pages in a book, but we don't call it pages, we call them sheets. Kind of sounds like the same thing, but they're called sheets in Excel. So one workbook can have many sheets, all right? So that's just by way of introduction. So I'm sure many of us already knew this, even if we didn't, nobody ever taught you this, but intuitively you already knew, having maybe worked with Excel for schoolwork or all that, you already knew that, okay, Excel had, you can open different sheets and you had all this. But I'm starting from the very basics, the very foundation, so that at least you can have something solid to build upon as we move forward, right? So, before we move forward, I think we should ask, what do we hope to learn from this class, right? What do we hope to learn? So, if there are any takers, could anybody just share with me, like, what do you think, like, what were you hoping to learn when you decided to come for this class? Anybody? Hello?
All right, so good afternoon. I don't know whether I'm audible.
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, so my name is Otao Genelki. I just joined, we just started the EMBA 28, if I'm not mistaken, EMBA 28. And of course, you know, we did some course around brush up using Excel, then went to data analytics and all of that. And it's been a struggle. I won't lie to you, it's been a struggle. I thought I could use Excel. I thought actually prior to coming for that class. But I just realized that, you know what, I should just pack all those things I thought I could do with Excel. I should just pack it and begin to learn from the scratch. I think that has actually affected me, right, in the first few classes that we've had with data analytics, and it's increasingly becoming very pertinent that I get to understand how the Excel works. Now we've got into some deep parts of data analytics, and then it's important that I know how to use Excel, because the mind is saying all your calculations must be in Excel. The other not shortcut, but then of course there are some formulas in Excel that I obviously need to embrace for me to be able to deal with some of the issues. So for me, I'm just starting from ground zero. So I want to know this Excel. So for me, I've packed everything that I think I used to know in Excel. I've packed it aside. I'm coming fresh, right? An empty head, which of course you can use the word tabula rasa to say, okay, from the point where you click on an Excel icon and it opens up, what exactly are we looking at? I think that's how granular I want to start for this program. Thank you.
Interesting. Thank you, sir. Sorry, I didn't get the name. I can't see any names because I'm sharing my screen. So
okay, so my name is sorry. My name is Otaogene. Probably I would rename myself. My name is Otaogene Oki.
Okay. So I learned I listened to what you said, and
yes.
And I understand the need for granularity, but can you give me something specific that you want to learn? Are you talking about Excel functions, or are you talking about like what exactly?
Okay, so I want to learn about the basic functionalities because, of course, I don't want to assume I know Excel. Trust me, I don't want to assume. I want to learn about the basic functionalities of Excel, right? And then from there, begin to build on it to know the more complex things I can do with Excel. I think that's the way I want to start. So I don't know whether that actually makes sense. Maybe I'm not using the right terminology when it comes to Excel, but please forgive me. I don't know anything Excel. That's it. I don't know.
But you're actually making a lot of sense. So we're talking about build the basic functionalities around Excel, and from there you want to build to higher stuff and learn higher functionalities and increasing complexities across time. That makes sense. Anybody else? Any other takers?
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi. Good afternoon.
My name is Uninge. I align with what Oki just said. I'm coming with a very clean slate on my head on learning about Excel. I will read because I just joined the MMBA 4, and then we learned during brush-up sessions, we learned about Excel, and I was kind of lost some of the times when they're making use of this when they're taking us through the Excel functionalities. But then I think I want to learn more about using the formulas, the formula ribbon, and then also in the data ribbon. I think I would like to learn more about that. Thank you.
All right. So formulas and the data ribbon, right? Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. So a little correction. By data ribbon, do you mean this? Because these are ribbons and these are tabs. So this is data tab.
Okay, yeah, the data tab and the formula tabs. Yes, and then the functionalities, everything under those two tabs.
Okay. Okay, I'll just have one more person. Just share your thoughts, what you want to gain from the program. Anybody? Any takers?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Imaro. I'm also in the same space with Otaogene and Munye. We just started the EMBA 28 classes, and data analytics has been something else, So I want to learn everything that has to do with analyzing data and how to go about it. So I believe that being in this class is going to help me a lot. EMUROHWO. So I believe being in this class is going to help me a lot with that course because I'm really lost. Thank you.
All right. So thank you. Thank you all for sharing your thoughts. It helps. So at least it gives us a guide to what we need to learn so that we will not be beating around the bush, right? We'll go straight to the point of what is important, what is not, what should we be doing, what should we not be doing. So coming back to the issues at hand, Excel. Before this class, these were the things that we proposed in our heart, well, with the president of the club to at least begin with today. And of course, I knew that I was going to add whatever the class wants to learn. So the idea of today's class, of the goal of today's class, was to understand the basic concepts in Excel, the cells, the rows, the columns, and spreadsheets. Basically, starting like that. I wanted to teach you like you're 5 years old, right? Not that you're 5 years old, but I mean teaching you from the basics, right? And then trying to learn how to navigate the interface well, learn how to enter data easily, effectively, and in a manner that will not stress you. Because if you understand Excel is not a stressful app, right? It's built to relieve your stress if you know what to do. Formulas and functions. I heard a lot of words about formulas. Osaugene and Onye said a lot about formulas, and even Emiro said a lot about formulas. So the simple formulas that everybody knows: sum, average, all right, count, products, and stuff like that. And then from then on, we'll now build on to higher things like if statements. I'm sure you might have heard of if statements. We might not get to other things beyond if statements today. Maybe that will be from next week, where we might enter things like VLOOKUP and other more advanced stuff. But for today, we start with the basics, right? Basic formulas that we will end up using almost every time we open Excel. And lastly, we will end with something called conditional formatting, right? Learn how to format cells, customize cells, change your font, change your color and your alignment and all that. So, all right, without further ado, let's go. I'll delete these. And we shall begin. So let me go back to the home tab. So I put my cursor. Can you see where I put my cursor here? At the top left corner of my screen. Right? The thing with Excel is that, okay, so before we even go to the cells, the column, these things here, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, all of etc. Right? They are known as columns. In other data analytics tools, they call them fields, but in Excel they are called columns, right? So Excel has from column A to, you would think it ends in Z, but it doesn't end in Z actually. If you stretch it, if you go beyond, you will see that it starts with, begins again A, B, A, C, A, B, and it goes, and it gets to a point where you have 3 letters and 4 letters and stuff like that. In total, the Excel has about 16,000 columns, right? But usually, you will likely not work with data that is that large on Excel, but it has 16,000 columns, just for you to know, fun fact. And then for the rows, right? These are rows, right? In fact, as you highlight it, you will see the name that it shows. If you look at where the cursor is, you will see 13R, 14R, 15R, just beneath my cursor, right? I hope you can see it.
Yes.
All right. So Excel, when Excel is picking things like this, it picks it as that if these are rows. And much the same way, if you pick this, you can't see it, it doesn't highlight, but okay, you can see it at the bottom right, bottom left, sorry. 5C, 4C, 3C, 4C, 5C, 6C. So basically these are columns, Excel is basically made up of columns and rows. All right. And now where a column and a row intersect is called a cell. In biology, they told us then that a cell is the smallest unit of an organism. So much the same way in Excel, the smallest unit of Excel is the cell. And the cell is the intersection of the row and the column. Now, the beautiful thing about Excel, and one of the things that makes Excel so powerful, is that every cell has a name, right? Every cell has a name. So this cell, the default name is gotten from the intersection of the column and the row. So the default name for this first cell is A1. The default name for this cell is A2, B2, C2, C3, C4, you know. And how do I know that this is the name? Because it's written here, C4, right? Much the same way the name is written here. So if you are anywhere in Excel, right? Maybe you have been working and you're now here and you're like, I want to go to the beginning, no, right? But you don't want to start scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, like scrolling, your hand to start paining you. Wherever you are in Excel, right? You can say, I want to go to, if you say, I want to go to the first row and the first cell in Excel as the top left cell. We all know that the top left cell is called A1, as we just saw. So you can just type A1 here, A1, enter, and it takes you back to the top. Much the same way, if I want to go to cell, any cell, G12, it goes, right? Just click it here and press enter. So you don't necessarily have to scroll all the time. Now, another reason why the fact that a cell is named is so powerful is that because you can name it the same way it was named, you can rename it. So for example, these here are the learning objectives, right? So this is cell G9 where my cursor is. Let me rename it as learning objectives. Let me write it as learning objectives, right? As the heading, learning objectives. I'm not renaming it, I'm just writing the title, learning objectives, right? Now, the name is still G9, right? But what is in G9? Learning objective. Now, I want to rename this cell so that anywhere I am, I want to say, I want to name this cell learning objective. I want to name it as, let's see, what do I name it as now? I want to name this cell so that anytime I want to go back to my learning objectives, I'll just type it here and it will take me back there. So let's say I rename the cell learning or learn. Let's keep it simple. Learn. Right? So the name of this cell is now learn. So if I want to say this thing here, maybe I'm in this cell, for example. I'm in another cell. I'm like, I want to, what is in that? What is it? They don't go back to learning objectives. And the name of the cell where learning objectives is learn. I could just say equal to learn. Before I even finish typing it, Excel has already reminded me that I named it cell learn. So I press learn and enter. You see what I just did? Are we together?
Yes, we are together.
Yes, sir.
All right. So basically what we are saying is that you can rename any cell in Excel as you wish. So for example, if we have this cell, for example, we have a small company, right? A business school. So let's use a P&L example. If we have a small company and we have revenues, the first line of any financial statement are the revenues. We have revenues of, let's say, 100 naira, and then we have cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold cost of goods sold, let's say 25 naira. Then we have our gross profit. Sorry, that's gross profit. So our gross profit should be the difference between this and this, right? I hope we all know how to do this. I'm assuming we all know how to do this. So, but I'll still come back to this. So that's gross profit, right? Now, I'm just doing this because I want to name this. So this 100 naira is the profit, right? Is the profit. If I want to be fancy, I could put it as naira. So this 100 naira is the profit. Now, if we say anything you don't understand, please feel free to interrupt me and ask, right? So if we say that this is the financial statement for your company, and we say, you know what, I want to name this cell. I want to name this cell revenue, right? Then I want to name this cell cost of goods sold. Oh, sorry. Come back to the name and say I want to name it cost of goods sold. And then this is profit, right? So imagine if I hadn't even calculated this. I could have just said, and I was in another place, maybe I was here. I could easily just say, what's the profit? Our profit will be equal to revenue minus cost of goods sold. It already comes out. I click it. I press enter. You see what happens? I literally didn't have to. I literally just named it, and I was calling the name from wherever. I can go to it. Let's try if it works from another sheet, right? So let's see if I say revenues minus cost of goods sold. So you see that it works from any sheet. So basically, as far as you're inside the same workbook, you can just be calling things from different places as long as you remember the name that you named it. All right. So it's just a good trick to have at your fingertips, you know. So what have we done so far? We've looked at cells, we've looked at rows, we've looked at rows, we've looked at columns, right? And it is the intersection of the rows and the columns that makes up the cells. And we've seen that each cell has a unique name, and each name can be renamed. And then you can use those names to your own advantage in any way you wish. I hope you understand that thus far.
Yes.
All right. All right. So now let's have a dummy data set and see how we can meander this. I want to look at some aesthetics, some few aesthetics here and there that will be really helpful. Still in talking about rows and columns. So let's say we have a data set of course, every good data set must begin with a serial number. Please note that I said it in passing, but it's important. Every good data set must begin with a serial number. So we have Excel normally comes with its own serial number, that's the row number, but the row number is not always perfect because you have to have headings. So on your heading, always know that it's always best practice to have a serial number. You will understand that later as we move to other analytic tools. So serial number. To move to the You notice whenever you're using Excel, once you click enter, as I'm going to do now, it comes downwards, right? So you can type in whatever, enter. However, but if you want to move upwards, instead of going back to your mouse to go and click, or to your touchpad to go and click, you can just press shift enter, right? Shift enter, it goes back. If you're with your laptop and your Excel is open, you could just try it if it's not something you've done before. Enter takes you down. If you hold shift and press enter, it takes you up in the opposite direction. In much the same way, if you want to move sideways, you press tab, right? So tab takes you to the right. And shift tab, just like shift enter, does the opposite. Shift tab takes you to the left. Sorry, shift tab takes you to the left. So you hold your shift button and tap on tab. If your Excel is open, I'll encourage you to try these things, because it's one thing to know these things mentally. It's another thing for them to become habits. And it's always best that as you're working, it's best to work from your keyboard. That's what many how most people say. It makes your life faster and easier. So again, tab, shift tab, enter, shift enter. Okay. So now, assuming we have a data set of movies, for example. Let's do movies. Let's not do something too serious. So serial number, tab, movie name, tab, genre of the movie.
Sorry, Jeff. Sorry to cut in, please. Apologies. Sorry, I got lost in the exercise you did about tab, moving forward, moving backward. What exactly was that?
Okay. Let me do it again. Right. What I was trying to say was that normally Excel default, right? If you don't tamper with your settings in Excel, the way it comes in your laptop is that whenever you press enter, it goes down.
Okay.
Right. So it goes down. If you type whatever and you press enter, it just automatically moves you down to the next cell, downwards.
Yes. Yes.
The assumption that that's the way you're supposed to enter data into Excel. You take it column by column by. What I'm now telling you is that imagine if you were here, you have typed things up to here, and you want to go back to correct something on this line. Normally, you will take your cursor. What most people do is that they will take their cursor and come back here.
Okay.
And then now retype what they want to do.
Okay.
What I'm now telling you is that it is usually faster, so that your hand doesn't. You can do it without your hand even leaving the keyboard. So instead of pressing enter to go down, because you want to go back up on the same column, you hold shift. Hold your shift button and you press enter. Hold your shift button and you press enter. So right now I'm not using my cursor. Shift enter takes you back up. Right? And you can do whatever you want. Enter takes you down. Shift enter takes you back up.
Okay. Noted. Okay.
All right. And also, if you wanted to move sideways in Excel, normally we use tab. That's the tab button on your keyboard. Tab is usually just above caps lock on your keyboard. So if you press tab, it just makes you go sideways. Tab. So I'm moving tab. So for example, if I wanted to type something, tab, type in tab, type in tab. And then if I remember, oh, I missed the spelling of this. instead of me to carry my cursor back and click here, I could just, while I'm here, shift tab. As you hold your shift button and you click on tab, it takes you back the same way you came. So that's the basic idea. That's what I was trying to share. It just makes you faster. It makes you more efficient, really.
Okay.
So, yeah. So let me delete these. I'll delete these ones. And another thing we should note is, okay, general, what else? Cost of production of the movie, for example. So if I want to go to something like genre, for example, note there's a difference between when you are on a cell and when you are in a cell, right? What am I saying? To go on a cell, you can just click enter or tab or whatever, and it takes you there. Like now, for example, here we are on this cell. If I press anything now, it will override this entire thing, this movie name, right? But sometimes I may not necessarily want to change the movie name. Maybe I just want to remove the A in the N from name, NAME. If I just start typing movie name again, I have to start typing everything all over again without A. I have to do this. You see, it automatically deleted everything that was there before, and I'm now typing all over again, like somebody that doesn't have somebody that has too much time in this world. So what you need, what I'm trying to say is that when you're like, if you're on the cell, any new thing you type deletes everything inside it. But if you are in this, for you to edit something specific inside the cell, you have to be in the cell. You are not in the cell until you double click that on that cell. So let me double click this, and I can individually change letters. These things might seem like they are small, but a lot of the time they're very time wasting for some people. So imagine if I had typed this by my hand and then I missed a spelling, and then instead of me to double click and just change a misspelling here, for example, or remove a comma, instead I just deleted it. I started typing again from the beginning, understanding basic Excel. It's just stressful. So here, when you click on a cell like this, you are on the cell. When you double click it, your cursor begins to flash, it begins to blink, and you're now in the cell. It's just something important to note so that you don't waste your time typing things all over and over and over again when you just wanted to make a tiny correction. All right. So another thing is you can see that Excel, when what you type in is longer than the length of the what's it called? The length of the column. Sorry, the width of the column rather, right? It fills into the next cell. It doesn't mean that what you type is inside this CO. It doesn't mean that this cost of production covers D and E. No, it's only inside cell D1. It doesn't fill into E1. How do we know? If you type something here, anything, maybe like year of release, it cuts off this cost of production and gives you a lot of space here. It cuts off this cost of production. So the only way you can see the remainder of what is here is when you have to come here and click. But there's a beautiful way to do this thing. Excel knows that a lot of the things you are going to type will be longer than the width of the cell. So what Excel usually does is there's a way, you can come here, right, and click and hold this line and drag it just to elongate it, right? Personally, what I prefer to do, and which makes it more aesthetically appealing, is this. Let me undo that, what I just did. I'll press Ctrl Z to undo. And then I will just put my cursor here and double tap. See what's going to happen. I double tap. You see, Excel just elongated it to the perfect length where the name will show and there'll be symmetry on the space on this side, and everything is just fine. For example, if I do this for this same one, cost of production, you can, and I want everything in cost of production to show. Instead of me manually dragging the column, I just double tap on it. I'm going to double tap on it again. Voila. It just shows everything as it's supposed to be. Now, if I say I don't even want that, let me do Control Z so that we take it back how it was before. If I say I don't want that, and I want all the columns to be exactly the same width, I can just come to my cursor here and highlight this column that I want, and then between any two, on any line within the column, I could just double tap. So you can see that, you can see what it did. The one where the name is wider, but that required more space, it gave it more space. The one that required less space, it reduced the space. It just makes your work look more neat, more organized, Alternatively, I could highlight everything and be like, you know what, I want, okay, let me do Control Z how it was before. And be like, I could be like, you know what, I want everything to have the same length. So I'm going to highlight everything. And then within any line, I just drag. I click and I drag. So whatever length, if you carry ruler and measure these ones now, each cell, so each column is exactly the same length because I highlighted all of them together and I drag, so they have equal width. But if I know that year of release, if I know that, for example, this one is going to have very few genre, maybe I'm going to use maybe like only 2 letters: genre, horror, HR, fiction, FC. And I know that I'm not going to have too much space here. All I'll do is highlight all of them, and I'll tell Excel that, see, I trust you to give me the length in the exact as I need it. So all I'm going to do is I'll just double click this, and Excel measures the length for me as it's supposed to be. So this is just a very helpful tool. Make your work makes it look mature, right? So now, serial numbers. This is one that is very common in your work in school and wherever, So I want to type 1, I want to list, maybe I want to list 10 movies, right, or 15 movies that I've watched in my lifetime, right? So of course, by the time I start with number 1, I press enter, it goes down. Number 2, press enter, it goes down. Number 3, press enter, it goes down, right? What some people do, they do not manually type in 4, 5, enter, 6, enter, 7, enter, 8, enter. That's just work, right? And somebody who is competent with Excel should not be doing that. So I'm just going to delete all these ones. Once you type 1, 2, and 3, right, and you want to take it down to 15, all you need to do is highlight those 3. I can do shift down to highlight 3. What I just did was shift. I click on 1 and I press shift and I put down. Alternatively, you could do Control Shift down. Right? Control Shift down highlights all 3 of them. So with Control Shift down, after highlighting all 3, all I have to do is just drag. Excel already sees that there's a pattern that it is, I'm going 1, 2, 3, so I'm adding 1, 1, 1. So Excel just continues in that light. All I have to do is drag down. and it follows, right? Oh, I want 15, so it comes to 15. What if I wanted it to be in, not in order like this, like 1, 2, 3. I wanted it to be every even number. So imagine if I wanted 2, 4, 6, and I wanted only even numbers. Let me delete that. So I wanted only even numbers. If I do the same thing and highlight these 3 cells for Excel, and I drag down, see what's going to happen. Excel just continues the pattern. So your job is to create a pattern for Excel to follow. So I just put 2, 4, 6, and Excel already read the pattern. It's like Excel did. You remember that quantitative math that you did in primary school or something, where they will give you 3 numbers, and then you're supposed to fill in the other numbers at the end. I don't know if you can remember it. I think almost all of us should have done it in quantitative reasoning or something when we're young. So when you do, so Excel notices the pattern. You type 2, 4, 6. Excel say, oh, okay. That means between every 2 numbers, you are adding 2. So you're adding 2, you added 2, you added 2. So let's think of another example. If you want to tell Excel to say, multiply every number by 2. So this is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is what? 8. So you see the pattern here. The pattern here is multiply everyone by 2. Let's see if Excel will be able to decode it for us. Right? So if I highlight these 3 and I drag it down, Excel is saying, okay, I don't understand this math that you're doing, no. You know. But basically, so this is 10.6667 and all that and all that. But basically, what we are saying is that Excel recognizes patterns. So we'll keep it simple for today. For the serial number 1, 2, 3. Highlight all 3, drag down. Voila. A mistake some people do is that they will click on this and drag down. There was no pattern for Excel to recognize because you only clicked on 1 and then you dragged 1 down. It will just follow. Everything will just be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Right? There's sometimes when it is needed, but this is not one of those times. All right. So I will undo and press Ctrl Z. We are back to where we were. So basically, these are what we are doing right now. Where we are is we are teaching ourselves to enter data, right? Data entry. So for the fun of it, let's just keep it fun. Can I be a movie name that I've watched before? What movie have I watched before? I've watched Titanic. Let me put it here. Genre, Titanic was it romance? I think it was. I can't remember. Cost of production, I don't know. Let me just put 100 million or 100 whatever. And then year of release, I think Titanic was released in 1992. So 1992. Voila. So we need to populate these data sets because we need it as an example. So for the fun of it, can anybody just tell me a movie that they've liked, that they watched in the past that they really liked? Let's just populate these things.
Gladiator.
Okay. Gladiator. All right. What genre of movie is it?
What is it? Is it
epic? Is there such a genre like epic?
Yes, epic, yeah.
Let's just put epic first. You don't know whether it's correct, but let's just put it. Epic. Cost of production. What do you think? How much do you think it would have cost to make that movie?
Then it was, I think, cost about $1 million. $
1 million. Okay. Fine. So, Year of release. Just give me a
Uh,
year. When do you think it was released?
1995.
1995. Now notice something. When I press romance, you see there's the romance, there's no space in this romance, right? So it just shows romance. A lot of the data is hidden because this column is not wide enough. So let's try to elongate it. What do you think? I just put my cursor here and be like, oh yeah, Excel, please I want every data here to show. I'll just have to double click this and let's see what happens. I double click this. All the data is showing now, right? So next movie, anybody, stop.
Titanic.
We already have Titanic.
The Mummy.
The Mummy. Okay. That was a horror movie, Abby? Or
Yes.
was it a horror movie? Okay.
Horror.
Notice I'm pressing tab to go sideways though. I'm pressing tab, not enter. If I press enter, I'll go down. But to finish sideways, I'm pressing tab. So tab, how much do you think it costs to produce the Mummy?
$2 million.
Just 3 million. Okay. What year was it released? What year did you watch it, or was it released?
99.
1999. But because I don't want to go sideways again, what I want is to press, I want to go back to movie name, right? So instead of pressing tab, what will I now press?
Enter.
Okay. That makes sense. So next movie.
The Rock.
Sound of Music.
Sounds of Music. What type of movie was it? That was like a fun, playful.
It was a
children's movie,
musical.
no?
I think it was a musical or
Music.
something.
Musical. Okay. How much did it cost to produce Sounds of Music? Who said Sounds of Music?
It's very good.
Sir, please, you have to come and tell us how much you produce Sounds of Music for.
I said it was $50,000 now.
Only 50,000.
And our dollar was what more then?
Okay. So this
That's
is
not
with them that
correct
time
data.
when they were producing it.
That's not correct data.
Okay. What do you mean
It's-
that's not correct data? Is it that that's not true?
It's not true now. $50,000, wow.
No. Is it your movie? It's not your movie, oh, please.
I was
It's
part of the
I told
movie
you how
now.
much you produce it for. Yeah, I told you how much you produce it for, please. Don't argue with the producer. 50,000. So now here's the thing. When entering data, you have to be careful. When entering data, you have to be careful about the unit. So what I said before was this one I said 100 million. This one 1 million. This one 3 million. Now this one 50,000. Right? 50,000. It means that everything here before now was in millions. So I cannot put 50,000 here. It will now be 50,000 of one. What proportion of 50,000 is 1 million?
That should be 0.05.
I don't know.
So I'm 0.05.
5.
All right. So guys, do you understand why I'm putting 0.05 here instead of 50,000?
Yes.
If you have any, we don't understand, just raise alarm or raise alarm. This is not class. This is everybody wants to learn here. So feel free to to raise alarm when you don't understand something. All right. So Sounds of Musical. When you made it 50,000, what year was that?
I think it was 1985 or so.
1985. So
Yeah.
next movie. So that movie is in this life.
Coming to America.
Coming to America. So that's a comedy.
Yep.
I know Eddie Murphy is a comedian. So how much did you produce it for? Madam Obi, when you were hiring Eddie Murphy to make this movie, how much did you make it for? Hello.
I didn't get that. I didn't get the question.
Oh no, I'm asking for, just give me a figure for cost of production. How much did
I
you make?
said
How much was the movie?
$36 million. 36.
Okay. Yes, okay. Sounds like you went to Google it. It's okay. Okay, so year of release, what year?
I think the newest version there is one for 2021.
Anyone, just give me something. What year?
2021. 2021.
2021. Okay. So next movie, please.
I don't know. Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo. Have you actually the movie of that one? I thought that was a novel. Okay. So, Madam Obi, when you made Romeo and Juliet, the romantic movie, Abi?
Child, yes.
Okay.
$28 million.
28 million. Okay. What year?
84.
1984. Let's enter. It moves. And you can see the way as you're moving, as you're going sideways, tab, tab, tab. But when you press enter, it moves back to the original. See what's going to happen when I press enter? It moves back here, back to moving in. Because Excel has seen your pattern. Again, when you're thinking Excel, think pattern. In fact, in everything data analytics is patterns. We're looking for patterns. It's the system, the Excel is trained to recognize patterns. It is this type of mentality that tech founders, made machines smarter and smarter and smarter, and now we have artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is trained, and neural networks, they are trained to recognize patterns. So anything data is pattern recognition. It has been like this for the past 10 years. So following that pattern is going to continue in this direction. You can see, if you understand what we are saying. Anyway, I'm sure you do. Right? So let's come back. Excel has seen our pattern that we are moving from tab, we're moving sideways. When we press enter, we move back to the original side. So next movie, please. Next movie. Maybe we'll stop at 10 if we don't find enough movies. Wakanda Forever. What movie is that one?
Lion
Black
King.
Panther. Okay, Lion King.
Ah,
Let me do Lion King first.
Jurassic
I'll
Park.
come back to Wakanda. Lion King what type of movie was that?
I think it was a story.
All of them are stories.
Adventure.
Like
Adventure. Thank you. Adventure.
Adventure. I pressed my tab. How much did we produce it for?
$20 million.
20 million.
20 and
what year?
2022.
2022. Okay. So I'll put my Black Panther because I like the movie. Black Panther makes sense. Black Panther is a sci-fi movie. It was, I don't know how much they produced it, but I'll just say I would say it should be a little more than Lion King, so 25 million. And the latest one came out in 2022. So next movie,
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Harry Potter.
Next is Nigerian movies. Oh.
Okay, that's fantasy.
Jesus Christ of Nazareth, people will not kill me. Okay, wait first. We will come back to Nigerian movies. No vex, man. Oh yeah, Harry Potter. What genre of movie is this?
Fantasy.
Fantasy. Fantasy. For the
I
sake,
don't
for
think
simplicity,
You say?
for simplicity, let's just pick only one genre. We know that many of these movies have more than one genre, right? So you might say
Okay.
something like fantasy slash adventure or fantasy slash sci-fi or something. Later
Okay.
on, as you move in Excel, by God's grace, I really hope we'll have the opportunity to teach you how to split data, right? So that is a way that you can actually do it, that you can split this fantasy and adventure. You like the way it is now, you can do something and a separate column will be created for one column now contains fantasy, one column now contains adventure. But let's not do that today. Let's keep it simple today. So fantasy. Cost of production,
50 million.
20 million. 20 million. Year of release
1987.
1987.
1997.
All right. Oh yeah, Nigerian movie, please, please, Nigerian movie.
Diamond
Please,
Ring.
Sorry?
Diamond Ring.
Diamond Ring. Diamond what?
Diamond Ring.
Ring. Okay. Who is it? Kanayo that acted this one?
No.
RMB.
Liz Benson. Liz Benson.
This is acting. Okay.
Liz Benson and RMB.
Okay. What genre of what is it? Horror?
It's
Adventure.
drama.
They don't have
Drama.
Okay. Okay. Cost
How are
of
we going to
production,
convert
Biko.
the Nigerian currency to dollar now? What conversion rate are we using? 750.
0.01. 0.01.
Who brought this Diamond Ring? Madam Memuna, was that you?
Okay.
Madam Memuna?
It's $5 million.
No, it's a lie. It's a lie.
You don't agree because
Why we are saying this? No, you know this thing. So if, for example, we have a data, we have one data point. What, like now, this cell now, data analytics, this cell is called a data point. Look at this entire table that we are creating, right? It's called a data set. Because it is a set of data. You know that data in English does not have plural. Data is data. There's no data. So this is a data set, a set of data. Now, this set of data contains several data fields. One data field is the serial number. This is a data field. Another data field is the movie name. This is a data field. Another data field is the genre. This is a data field. So now, each data field contains several data points. So Titanic is a data point.
Data generally, data explorer.
Radiator is a data point. The Mummy is a data point. Diamond Ring is a data point. Sorry, can we hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can hear you.
All right. So I just wanted you to know that as we're having fun and we are bringing up these things, they are learning also, right? So what did I call this? What did I call this entire thing?
Data set.
Data set.
All right. Please, if you're not speaking, you don't want to speak, please kindly mute your mic if you're not speaking.
What did you call this?
And go up to 40.
Sorry,
Kindly mute your mic
what
if you're
did
not
you call it?
speaking.
The reason why I need your help is because of the pattern.
Moving the carton. There are cartons over there.
Hello. Okay, I think there's some silence now. Okay, so I'll come again. I was saying that this entire table, right? I was saying that this entire table, it's not a table technically, so let me not call it a table. But this entire thing is called a data set.
Data what?
Right? Set. S-E-T.
Set. Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, so I actually missed something you said earlier. I think the call came into my phone. You mentioned something about the structure in Excel, which allows a particular pattern wherein when you press the enter key, it automatically recognizes which cell to move to. Does this have to do with the way you actually, the flow which you follow in imputing your data? For instance, maybe if you're imputing it vertically, it automatically takes it to the next level, or if you're imputing it horizontally. Can you please clarify?
Precisely. So what I was saying was, you know what, I'll answer your question when we are filling this line 11, right? You are number 10. I'll answer your question when we are doing that, so you will just see the pattern, right? So, or maybe we should just, no, let's finish, let's buttress this data set point first before we come there. Is that right? Is that okay? Okay, so when I meant by data set was this: everything here is called a data set, right? And now the beautiful thing about Excel is that you remember I told you that you can name cells, right? This is cell A1, that's the name. This is cell, oh sorry, you see, this is the danger of naming cells. Now this cell is no longer B2, it's now cost of goods sold. Let's change it back to B2. Okay, so this is still revenue. Let's change it back to B1. Oh, no, this is macro. But basically what we are saying is that every step you can read this entire data set, right? I call it a data set. You can actually name it. So let's name this entire thing that looks like a table of movies. Let's name it data set. So if I say, okay, Excel, I want to see data set, and I pick it, and I press enter. Okay, so if I say equal to data set, right? Sorry, using one hand. Data set. So it highlights everything for me. This is important. This will become important later on when we are doing things like VLOOKUP, because you will have to name an entire table or an entire data set. So this is a data set. I just thought you should know that. So data set, this is a data field, right? So I could name this entire thing the data field. I don't want to change the name, but the data field. Let me write it out so that you see the field of data. right? Data field. And then this comedy, bouncing, 20. These are data points. So these are, I want to, you are getting familiar with the terminology of data science, right? Data set, data field, data point. Now, back to the question on patterns. What I was saying was that if you start here, for example, on line 10, we have the movie Diamond Ring, right? I press tab. Excel sees that I press tab to move sideways. Okay, what type of genre? What genre of movie was Diamond Ring? What did we say? What genre did we say it was before?
Drama.
Okay. If we move sideways, cost of production. This was everywhere. Let's just pick something. Sorry.
22 million.
Wonderful. Okay. And then year of release.
98.
What's the
98.
1998. What I was saying for the person that asked that question was that Excel has seen that you have a pattern of moving sideways. So, but once you press enter, normally enter takes you down. If I press enter, it's supposed to take me back here, right? To cell E12 before. But because Excel has seen that I started from here, I moved in this pattern. Now, when I press enter, it takes me back to the next pattern. So it takes me back to the next starting point where I'm entering the data from. So Excel has seen that I'm entering data in a Z pattern. So I'm doing this Z, 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 Z. You know, that was all I was saying about the pattern recognition in Excel. It gets more, in most data analytics tools, there's always some built-in level of pattern recognition. And it's that pattern recognition that helps your work, makes your work easier. So that's what I was saying. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, it's clear. And a follow-up question would be that when you're moving from Diamond Ring to Drama, did you use a right cursor key to move to the next column, or did you use enter to move to the next column?
Oh, okay. So I use tab.
Okay, you use the tab key to. So you're saying that if you're typing, if you're inputting data vertically, it's better to use tab to move to the next column as against using cursor, your right cursor key.
Bam. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, clear. Thank you.
All right. You can even make it more fancy. So
I have a question.
All right.
I have a question.
Please go ahead.
Okay, the question is that well, the entire set of data, you call it data sets, and then when you wanted to talk about data feed, you only refer to a column. For instance, when you refer to Gmail, you refer to it as a data feed. What happened to the rule? How do we describe rule?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if there's any particular name for the role, right? But it is because you are not saying there's any particular name for a role, right? It's not a data field, because a data field is a field of data that has something unique. That they all describe the same thing. So data field is all the movie names are one data field. A genre is one data. Sorry, is one data field. But for roles, there's no particular name like that. At least I have not discovered any particular name. If you find any name in the future, you can let us know. But for now, there's no particular name that you use to describe roles. It's just row 5, row 6, or whatever.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So I think we should stop at row 10. We tried for naming movies. So now, so I wanted to before we move into functions, what time is it, please? Hey, it's already past 2. Now. Is it past 2 already?
Yes.
16 minutes
Wow.
past.
Okay. And I really want us to do functions before we close for today. So functions, very important. I want us to do functions. I want us to do yeah, I want us to do functions and I want to do formatting. But before we do that, I wanted to highlight something really important, right? Data. You can see this your data set that you have here. It consists of different types of things that you type to. You type in a number, you type in letters, you type in these numbers and letters. So some are words, gladiator, epic, comedy, those are words. While some are numbers, 5, 0.05, 36. Now, in handling data generally, there are different data types, right? There are different types of data points. So in a word like this, it's called a string. A string, right? String, that's what I called it. So words like comedy, are strings. Then of course, numbers like 0.05, numbers like 1 or 100 or 28 or 26, these are called integers. We already knew this, but I have to remind you, like, I strongly believe that when you hammer things like when you talk to somebody like they are 5 years old, I'm not trying to condescend, but it's just to hammer it home to make you understand it, right? So integers, strings, there are other data types, right? So for example, have you seen all those questionnaires that you say yes or no? They'll say, maybe they ask you a question and you say yes or no, right? Any anything that any data type that has yes, no, male, female, or usually true, false, those are called Boolean. Right? So, for example, let's say, so we have talked about strings, integers, and Boolean. Now, this is not a real Boolean. If I type in a Boolean as a word, Excel, you can see how when you type in a word, Excel shifts it to the left-hand side. So if I type in Titanic again, or if I type in diamond ring, because it's a word, Excel takes it to the left. If I shift this, if I expand this now, you can see that all the words are kind of shifted to the left. What's that word now? They adjusted or something to the left. While all the numbers, alignment. Thank you. So all the words are aligned to the left, while all the numbers are aligned to the right. Right? When you see, it's a way of recognizing the type of data set. Excel does this intentionally, so that when you see a word, when you see something aligned to the left, just know that it's going to be difficult to use it to solve mathematical functions. So there are times when you will see, let me do this. and then let me do this. So this I put 12 in parentheses in apostrophe, and I put 12 here. Now Excel recognizes this as a number, but Excel might not recognize this as a number, and it's important because let's try and do mathematical functions with this. So let's do equal to 12 this cell times 2, right? It gives us a number 24, 12 times 2. But let's say this is equal to this times 2. It gives us an error because anything that is aligned to the left, Excel does not recognize it as a number. I'm saying this because you might use data sets in the future where numbers are aligned to the left. Just know that you cannot solve math with those numbers. You can't calculate anything with those numbers unless it is aligned to the right. Right. So now that we've done that, I think it's time for some functions. Right? Time for some functions. So so we have different, let me expand this column. So we have different you have the serial numbers, you have the movie names, different types of movies, different genres, different cost of production and different years. So what if we say what if me and you, all of us now agree, and let's now agree in this conversation that any movie that was older, any movie that is older than 1995 is trash. Can we agree?
No.
Is what?
Why
I
you
didn't get that.
Okay. So I said, can we agree that any movie that is older than 1995 is not a good movie? Does not make sense.
Assumption. Let's go ahead.
Okay. So let's now see. So we want to create a new data field now. Remember I told you that a data field is a column, right? So new data field is quality of the movie. We want to know movie quality, and assuming that we are only judging movie quality by the year it was produced. Let's now say that I'm going to do something now. Just watch. It's equal to, I want to make a formula. If the year of release is greater than 1995, equal to if. I want to introduce you to functions now. That's why I'm doing this, right? If, I'll click if. You press if, you open your bracket. If the year of release, right? If the year of release is greater than, so before I even start going into many things, what is if? The word if, let me even delete all these things. I start speaking English. What is in normal English? What is if? What if I say if somebody comes to you and says maybe person does not know how to speak English before, just came into Nigeria for the first time and says, oh, I heard a word. The word is if. What's the meaning of the word if?
I think if is more like hypothetical something. It's to me maybe like an hypothesis.
Conditional. Conditional.
Okay.
I like that word you just used. Condition. Condition. That is what you're about to say is dependent on another thing that you are going to say. So if LBS school fees is less than 10 million, I will pay. You have said two things now, two data points that you have used. LBS school fees being less than 10 million and you paying or not paying. So those are two different data fields, right? And if your payment or not payment is dependent on LBS school fees being less than 10 million. Now, if you want to write that in an if statement, we are saying that if LBS school fees is less than, we know the sign for less than now, Abby. You decide M on your keyboard. So shift this. If LBS school fees is less than 10 million, that's 10 million, Abby, 10,000. 0, 0, 0. If LBS school fees is less than 10 million, comma, what's the value if it's true? What will you do if that is true? You will pay.
Pay.
But if it's more than 10 million now, comma,
I will
what will
not,
you do if it's
will not pay.
So now I've used this as an example, right? But really, if you want to type it, if you actually had the data set and you want to type this, value is true because K is a string. What is a string? A string is a regular word, like comedy, like Annie, something. So we don't really write strings. You know, computers they deal with ones and zeros. So you want to tell that this is a string, you put it in apostrophe. You'd have said K apostrophe close, comma, apostrophe, not K. And there should be no space in the string. So let's assume that your budget for entering to come to LBS was 10 million naira. That's what you had. You now went to the career department and you now said that what's the school fees like? If they had told you anything less than 10 million, the Excel in your head, the application, the function in your head would have clicked pay. But if they had told you that the school fees was like 15 million naira, the function in your head would have told you not to pay. Right? So now that we understand this like this, before we go back there. So let me clean this and go back where we were. So now let's come back to movies. So if you have a question, just ask.
Yes, I just wanted to that explanation you just give, just go over it one more time, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's assume that you have your budget for LBS before you enter was 10 million. Anything more than 10 million, Baba, you know they pay. You just continue your normal work or your normal business. Forget about LBS. So it means that your coming to LBS is conditional upon the amount of school fees that they tell you, right? So if the maximum amount in your head was 10 million naira and anything more than 10 million you're not paying, it means that in your head you have written a function. An Excel function has been written in your head. And your Excel function was this. Was that if it already came out, you can click on it and the brackets come aside. Or without clicking the bracket there, if I just type if and put bracket open, the same thing would have come out. It still works. So if what were we saying? If our logical test, our test in our head was that anything more than 10 million, you're not paying a B. So if LBS school fees was less than 10 million, right? Comma, this is the condition. We said that and if is the condition. This is the condition. If LBS school fees is less than 10 million, you now say comma, value is true. What's the value if it's true? If LBS school is less than 10 million, you should pay. So you put your apostrophe type K. But if it is not less than 10 million, comma, value if false. If it is not more, if it is not less than 10 million, you should not pay. Close your bracket. If I
Why
click
did
this
you
now,
put
it's
the
not
underscore? Why did you put the underscore, please?
okay. So generally, with as I remember, I told you that this is a string. That number words generally are strings. When words, because this is a formula, and normally you don't use words to calculate formulas, right? So just putting Excel generally in formulas, they don't like space. They're not supposed to be space. So if I don't want to do underscore, I could just put it as not space like that, and it will still come out. But underscore just tells you that if I were to write it in English, it's supposed to be space. But because like in a formula, and formulas don't have space within them, therefore it won't work. Therefore, we should just put it so that it's just for clarity that you can
More
read
like
it
connecting words.
to connect words together, so that these two words they're supposed to be together. So now let's go back to the. I strongly believe that you understand this when we do this quality assessment for the movie. So let's assume that we are doing quality assessment for the movie, and our condition that we all agreed here was that any movie that was made above, any movie that is older than 1995. Older than, is that less than or greater than?
That's less than.
Less than.
Okay, any movie less than 1995, we are saying it's a trash movie. It doesn't make sense. Trash. Apologies to Titanic people, but it's trash. That's what we agree. But we're now saying that to let Excel give you this, you will now say, use the if statement. That if, remember that this is our condition now. This is our condition, our formula. So before you write any if statement, you must always know the formula in your head, condition that you want to test in your head. So we're now saying that equals to if, click on the if, right? If the year of release, 1992. If the year of release is less than 1995, what should be the value if it is true?
Don't watch.
Trash.
Okay, let's use, so let's use trash or don't watch. But because it is a string, we are going to put it in apostrophe. So trash. Now, what if it is not less than 1995? What should we say it is?
Watch.
Watch. So let's now press enter. You see what happens? So from the criteria you have put, Titanic is a trash movie. So now you can see that in the cell, what is showing is trash. But if you look at the formula bar, that's why it's called the formula bar. It shows you the background formula that is working to produce this thing you saw. Right? So now that we've seen that this is trash, let's now, the beauty of Excel is that you don't have to start typing the same formula all over again for this line. Type for this line is equal to if if this is less than 1990. The beauty of Excel is that once you've done it once, sorry. The beauty of Excel is that once you've done it once, all you have to do is drag down. Excel is very simple. All you are doing is dragging down. So I set my this thing. Let me do F9, and yeah. Can you see this? So with our formula, with limit, Excel has told us you've been able to say, okay, Gladiator, you should watch Gladiator. The Mummy, you should watch The Mummy. Forget about Sound of Music, it's trash. Okay, we should watch Coming to America. Oh, Romeo and Juliet is trash. Lion King is trash, and all the other movies. Oh, Lion King, we should watch it. And all the other movies we should watch.
Hello, sir.
Any
question? Yes. Joshua.
I'm with you, sir.
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask if we want to separate, we want to separate those two options with color. For example, I want the trash to be in red. Is that also possible?
Yeah, but your spirit is leading you in the right direction. Understand? So that's the next thing I was about to go to. Changing font color alignment. What we are talking about, what you were talking about is called conditional formatting. Conditional formatting. That's the question you're asking, right? So what you just described, that if it is trash, put it in red. If it is watch, put it in green, something like that. It's called conditional formatting. In other words, what we are saying is that each cell, we want to format each cell, want to format each data point using color, but our formatting will be dependent on a certain condition. And what's the condition? The condition is whether it is trash or whether we should watch it, whether it is watch. So moving there, let's just move there straight away. So what we will just do is to highlight the entire field. What I just did was to use my mouse or my cursor, to highlight everything. But a simpler way to have done it would have been just take the first one and shift and type, and you press Shift Control down. So Shift Control down. It just shows that you are more professional. It is dragging down and holding each one and going one by one is for mere mortal. You're not a mere mortal. You're awesome. So awesome people do Shift Control down. So Shift Control down, you pick everything. And then you see this. So on the home ribbon, on the home tab, right, the ribbons under the home tab, each ribbon is divided into groups. So this group here, you see conditional formatting, right? So you just click on it. So when you click on it, I wish you're with your own Excel so that you can be doing this as I'm doing it, so that you will see it come to life, right? So this is called conditional formatting. So conditional formatting has to have its own rules, Abby. So we want to create rules, the rules of this conditional format. Let's type new rule and see what will work. That's what we want. No, this is for numbers. So we click on it, and we click on the rules. Yeah, we want to condition this format applied traffic concept data bar color scale. No, this is not what we're looking for. This is not what we're looking for. More rules. Okay. So specific text containing the word trash, right? What do we want? Do we want the background to be red, or we want the word itself to be red?
Yeah, the background.
The background should be red. So in Excel and most Microsoft things, it's fill. So we're talking about the fill. So the background should be red. When we press OK, it does that.
Sorry, please, can you repeat?
Okay. So I'll undo it. Ctrl Z. So this is it. You highlight the entire field that you want. So that Shift Control down, highlight everything. You come to conditional formatting on the ribbon under the Home tab. Click on it. So you want to create your rules. Your rule that you want to create for this conditional formatting is that any cell that contains trash, highlight it red, right? So when you're highlighting your rule, greater than, no, that's not what you want. Greater than, less than, these are for numbers. Text that contains, this is what you're looking for. Text that contains. Click on it. So the specific text that contains what? Trash. Note, these things can be case sensitive, so you must be careful to type it. If I did it capital T, it might not work. So, but small c, trash, exactly how I spelled it. And then how do I want to format it? It already tells you the default. The default is red text on red background. But since we want only red background, it gives you the option. So red, light red fill is background. Dark red text. This is it. But so it comes with other ones, right? If I even wanted a different color, I could say okay, custom. And then I give me other options. Hey, I've gone to find trouble. My Excel is now hanging. Okay. So there are other options. So I could choose from a wider array of colors. I could say, okay, I want deep red, you know. But what we want is not necessarily the font, is the feel. So the feel, we want everything, we want the feel to be red, Abby. We want red. So let's use this darker red. So what about the font? We want the font to still be black, Abby. We don't want anything font. The color to still be black. And then the feel will be this. And then, okay. So I'm using a Mac. So the interface might not be exactly the same if you're using a Windows, but it's basically the same thing. It's almost the same thing. Are you using your system? Were you able to do this as we were doing it?
Yes, I will.
Okay. So have you been able to highlight your own?
Yes.
All right. So this is conditional formatting. But what if I say, okay, I don't just want to know what is trash. I want to know what to watch, right? I want to know the next movie to watch. So the same thing I'll do, I'll click on the entire field, conditional formatting, sales rules. I'll come down, text that contains. I'll put my watch, right? But I don't want to put it the same color as this one. This one is to confuse me. So let's use green. Green is the color for good, Abby. Means to go. Let's use we want a green background, so custom. We want a background that is green and nice and warm. So if we change it to green and we press OK, but we want our font to be black. Oh, our font is red. Let's change our font color to black. We press OK. So it gives you this is what a cell that is watch would look like. So this is what we want. We press OK. And voila. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So I would strongly encourage you to try this thing on your own, right? Just pick up something and just try to format the cells with different colors, because you will meet this thing over and over again. In Fin 1, I don't know who is going to take you guys Fin 1, but our lecturer then, Funke Ireguna, she likes to have many cells with different formatting colors and all that, you know. And not just that, different lecturers will do it. Baba of CMA, cost and management accounting, when you eventually do it, you would like to highlight some figures that you wanted to see. It's good to know how these things are highlighted and stuff like that, you know. And of course, in your own business or in your own workplace, you know, when you want your team to focus on certain data points, right? When you want them to say, maybe this was revenue that is less than, for example, if we have revenue figures for the last 5 years, let's say 1990, let's say 1995, 1996, 1997. Okay, Excel knows my pattern now, so I'll highlight everything and then I'll just drag to the year 2000, right? So if Excel knows, if these are revenue figures for all these years, and we have 1995, your company made 1 million, is that 1 million? 1 million. 1996, your company made 2.5 million. And 1997, your company made 3 million. The zeros are complete, so 3 million. Then in 1998, your company something happened, maybe financial crisis or dot-com bubble burst or something, and the value of your revenues now came down to like 500K, right? In 1999, your company now rebounds and made like, okay, 850, and then by 2000, your company now made another 1.2 million, right? If these numbers, just looking at the numbers like this, they can give you a headache. Especially if you're not a numbers person, you don't like numbers person. And many people don't like numbers, that's the truth. But if you can use conditional formatting that we just did to highlight the most important figures that you want people to see, right? For example, what if you as a person in your workplace wanted to tell somebody to focus on the years when you made 4 sales? You can say, okay, any year that we made less than 1 million naira revenue was a bad year. So if you highlight everything and do conditional formatting, you come to see there's already a less than for you. So let's click on less than. Cell value less than what? You said 1 million, Abi? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. You see what happens? It immediately highlights you, it immediately draws your attention, because human beings, we are very visual creatures. This immediately draws your attention to the fact that, okay, what's happening in these 2 cells? What's happening? Immediately tells you that. And if normally we usually think when we see red, we think danger. So when you see red cells, you know that okay, oh, there was problem, there's problem here, there's problem here, let's look at what happened. Your mind automatically begins to ignore these other figures and focus on the ones that are colored. So it's just a very good tool to help you highlight what is important and what is not. Because you might have this entire sheet filled with numbers, and you're like, what's all this one? Before you start looking for all the individual figures, whether you do conditional formatting, just pops out the figures that are troublesome, and you can focus on those ones, focus your attention on this one. So are we cool with conditional formatting now?
So sorry, JWM, I just want to thanks for all you do and all you've done so far. I wanted to ask, right, this conditional formatting, is it possible for us to include it, you know, in the functionality that when you are giving that conditional statement, if this was that, that was that, could we include it at that point to say, okay, if this is falls within this category of trash, then color red? Can we include it, or must we have generated the information, then now go directly to conditional formatting to do this? I don't know, is it possible we can do that?
That was actually a hard thing. You know how it's okay, I don't know what religion you are, but the scripture they used to say when you ask something hard, they say that was actually hard thing. I think it's possible, right? I've not tried it, okay, but it makes sense, and I believe that there's a level of Excel proficiency that you get to that you actually be able to find it, right? I actually believe so. So let me try equal to if is great, if this is less than 1995, let's see if color is only okay. There's no function called color. I don't think it's possible like that on Excel. It may be. Let me not say it's not possible, but I've not tried it. So maybe if you do further research and you find it and it's possible, I beg you come and show us. Eh? But for now,
All right.
I don't think
No
it's
problem.
possible. What most people do is this: as you do the regular one, that's your if statement, and then you now do some conditional formatting on top of it. I'm coming here. So before we go, I want to quickly do averages, right? The only function we've done is if, but Excel has many functions, right? When I mean many functions, so we have average, very important function. We have product, we have what else? What else?
Sum if, count if.
Okay. Count if, if you're finding trouble, I want to start with simple ones, okay. Sum if, so they are mainly, right? They are mainly. So, for example, if I want to say, okay, in this data field, what's the average year of release of all these movies? You just use average. It's literally just use average. Type average. You can click it, and then you just highlight everything. Control Shift down. Remember, as I said, Control Shift down picks up everything. Press enter. So the average year of all these movies is 2001. Now note that because it is it's calculated, Excel just thinks as a number, is 2001.5. But we know that in real life there's no such thing as 2001.5. Yeah, 2001.5. Right. So to make the thing make sense, I just come here. This is to reduce the decimal point. So you just click this. So Excel just approximates 2002. if you want to increase the decimal point here, so if we give you 2001.5000000, whatever. So reduce decimal point, increase decimal point, reduce decimal point, increase decimal point. So to make the data make sense, let's just reduce it to the whole number. So that's 2002. If you want to say, okay, total cost of production, what's the total cost of production of this thing? What newbies to Excel, you'll come here and click auto sum, right? You can do it to see what. You see what I click auto sum. This formula that we used to see in further math and in math that time, that's to give you a statistics. It's like
But you did not highlight anything when you click on auto sum.
No, that's the beauty of auto sum. That's why some people still like it.
Okay.
From experience, because you don't even have to click on anything.
Okay, you don't need to highlight before you get the sum.
At all. Oh, yes, once you just put it on that, it just looks for the figures that are nearest to it and adds up all the figures. And enter. That's all. But if you want to go the longer route, you could just say it's equals to sum. You type it sum, like hardcore sum, and then you now click this Control Shift down. Click it up to an 11 and then enter. That's it. So same thing.
Please, can you repeat that process again?
Which one? The first one or the second one?
For average and sum, the one you do the Control Shift.
Oh, okay. So this, right? Let me delete it. So you've seen how we just used auto sum before. We just click this and it works. Get to the point. But if you want to do auto, if you want to do the manual sum, that's equal to SUM. Click on the SUM. Immediately opens the bracket for you, and then you just type this. Click on this. Options you have are that you could actually just take this and drag it down with your hand up to the line you want to add, or you could just say Control Shift down. Okay, sorry. This, click that, see the top line and Control Shift down. Now the problem with this Control Shift down sometimes is that you see what it did. It picked up to D12 and you're on row D12. If I click enter now, it will give me an error. Even if it doesn't give me an error, it will give me a wrong figure because I've seen the setting on my own Excel. This thing is called a circular reference. It's wrong, right? You're supposed to stop at D11, diamond range. D11 gives me the right figure, right? But if you do it on your own Excel, because if I change it to D12, let me change it to D12 so that you see. D12, if you do it on your own Excel, it will give you an error. Try it and see. It will give you an error. It gives you an error because you cannot use something to add calculate itself. You cannot use the answer in D12 to calculate the sum of everything plus D12. So, but because I've changed the function in my Excel, that's why I'm going to do this, but your own will not work. So it's up to D11, right? And AutoSum knows this. That is why if I use AutoSum here, AutoSum only picks up to D11. So that's just it. If Control down, it picks all the numbers. But if this was empty, if control down, it picks all the numbers. Another way you could do it is shift control up. That's from, you put the lowest figure and shift control up. But if you see, this will also give you an error because you now pick the heading and you don't want to pick the heading because the heading is not a number. You can't add strings plus integers. So you just move that, shift down, and enter. So this makes sense. Does this make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right. For the sake of time, it's already 3 o'clock and fatigue will begin to enter. So I think let's see whether we covered everything, what we're able to cover today. Basic Excel concept, we looked at cells, we looked at rows, we looked at columns, right? We looked at how to structure columns well, how to arrange them so that there were 16,000, over 16,000 columns. And oh, I forgot to tell you, over 1 million rows in Excel. Over 1 million rows in Excel. We saw how to navigate, right? We saw how to enter data. Whether you're going down, you're pressing enter, you're going sideways, you're pressing tab, or you're going in Z pattern. Once you get to the edge, press enter, Excel takes you back to the beginning, right? We saw how to enter, we saw how to add, we know how to delete, and then we saw how to move rows and columns. Oh, I'm about to tell you that we can actually make these columns bigger. Just put your cursor between each row and just stretch it out, right? If you want to do that. Then we looked at functions, looked at formulas and functions, looked at sum, looked at average, looked at if statements. As someone suggested, there are many more functions, right? Like count if, sum if. You don't have time to go through all those today, but at least just know that they exist. And with time, you will be encountering them as time goes on. And then, last but not least, we looked at conditional formatting, changing the colors, and inline to pop to make your data pop out to see what you want and what you want to see. All right. So from next week, we'll be doing something more detailed. I'll probably not be the one to take it. One of my colleagues will be taking it. An alumnus rather, will be taking it. But you'll be moving on from here. You'll be building upon what you've learned here, to more detailed, more intricate things, and you've seen other tricks in Excel that will be useful to you. So yeah, I think we've done some good work today. Any final thoughts or final questions before we go?
Okay, thank you, Jeremy. I must say I'm glad. I do appreciate you guys. I really don't know what this setup is all about, but in terms of who are the guys that are coordinating this, but Trial, I must tell you, you guys have done well. It gives me hope. I won't lie to you. I have hope, and I hope I can build on this hope that you guys have given to me today. I want to assume with your last comment that this will take place every Sunday. I want to assume, except the communications will come maybe when they have different sections, it will be communicated on the platform. But if I want to, what I'm asking so that we can actually factor that into our schedule. The schedule with LBS is actually something that can just be time demanding. So I want to see if this is what it is every 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, so that we can actually incorporate it into our timetable. Would appreciate that clarification. Outside that, thank you for what you've done today. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So yes, to answer your question, this is the Data Analytics Club. We are a club, so we are just fellow students like yourselves, so they're trying to help each other. So we we do this every Sunday, religiously. Every Sunday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So every Sunday, 1 to 3 p.m. All right. You don't even need to be a member of the club to join our meeting, but we strongly urge you to join the club so that you can have first-hand information on our activities. So when the time comes for you to join the club, you can consider joining the club as one of the 2 clubs that you have to join. But yeah, we meet every Sunday, 1 to 3 p.m. We don't miss it. It's like church. Understand? We don't miss it. And then whenever there's not going to be a meeting, it will be communicated to you. Also, this Zoom link that you use is the Zoom link you use every meeting, every blessed meeting. So even if you have not heard anything from us throughout the week, once you have this Zoom link, just click on it by 1 p.m. on Sunday, you'll see us. These are most important activities in the club. And yeah. So I think as time goes on, the president will communicate to you on other activities that the club will be engaging in. So I hope that answers all the questions.
Thank you.
All right. So without further ado, it's been nice doing business with you today. Thank you for banking with us. See you same time, same station next week, Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, IG.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma.
Thanks. Yeah.
Sorry, last one.
Oh.
Next week is election, right?
Yes.
Are we meeting?
Next week Saturday is election.
The election normally will spill over to Sunday now.
Are you contesting?
We're anxious to know the president, so we'll have our eyes glued to the TV. So we'll be following it back to back, minute by minute. Probably some of us are party agents. You know, you can't deny us that opportunity to go and check whether our candidates are winning. Sir.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be nice to just allow it?
Otas, speak for yourself. I know you have collected. We know you have collected. We know you have collected moolah.
Speak for yourself. I believe they are recording the session.
We know you have collected. You have collected riba.
You both should calm down. I'm only helping people that have not spoken for themselves.
Well, excuse you.
You can stop the recording. Stop the recording.
We excuse you from the class.
Okay, please, stop recording, please.
Okay, so another thing is that all our sessions are recorded, right? So after every class, we could usually during the week we will share the recordings on our group, that's on our club group. So if you're not a member of the club, you can contact the president. Her name is Chinoye. I don't know if Chinoye is on this call, but yes, she's on the call. So if you're
I'm here.
Okay, so Chinoye, say hi, wave your hands to the Lord. You know. So
can we start video?
Yeah, sure. You can have the recordings after every class during the week. We'll start the recordings for you and we'll share it on our WhatsApp group. And then if you're on the WhatsApp group, you have access to it. You're not on the WhatsApp group, I'm sure you can find a way to get it across to you.
Okay, we're on the WhatsApp group already, so we hope to get the recording. But the recording will be censored now. At least my conversation will not be part of it, right?
Unfortunately, everything in this class is recorded automatically. So
I will not talk again. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
All right.
Bye.